Welcome to Malcolm Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcolm and Rochelle Reed.
Let me tell you about Schwank Grills, Chelle. Schwank Grills is a portable 1,500-degree cooking machine. It uses infrared heat, which is perfect for cooking steaks to perfection in as fast as 3 minutes. The Schwank Grill cooks just like fancy 1,500-degree grills that are used in fancy steakhouses like the Denver Palm, Morton's, and even Roost Chris. You can cook just about anything from steak, lobster, even pizza with all the accessories that Schwank has available. Chelle, where can they find out more about Schwank Grills?
There is a link in the description with a coupon code to receive $150 off Schwank Grills. You follow that link and enter the code HowToBBQRight.
Y'all check them out, Schwank Grills. All right, what's happening, Chelle? We're back with another edition of the How to Barbecue Right podcast. We are full-blown summertime right now. The heat has set in.
It has.
Feels great outside. I'm loving it.
As long as there's not too much humidity.
We've been in the pool some. We've been doing cooking. I went to a cookout at Mark's house. The Outlaw RibFest was this past weekend. The Southern edition, because normally it's held in Mentone, Indiana, but they did it down at Mark's house in DeSoto County.
Before you get too far on that, I wanted to talk about the things we have coming up and places we'll be this summer. We will be at the Mitten Barbecue Supply in Grand Rapids on July 13th. You'll be there with Swine Life, Mark and Jamie Williams, and we'll be passing out food and shaking hands and kissing babies.
Talking all kinds of barbecue right up there in Michigan. First ever event I've been to in Michigan.
Have we ever been to Michigan before?
I've been a couple times in that area, but never to Grand Rapids. I've been to like southern Michigan, like right there on the lake, right close to Notre. I had a buddy that was going to Notre Dame, and I went up there and hung out. We would go to Michigan and shoot guns. I think they were a little more lax or something up there. I don't know. I was shooting these old World War I era rifles up there. I actually bought one and brought it back home.
Did they work real well?
Yeah, they worked.
We also have a burger contest at the shop on June 15th.
That's here local in Hernando.
In Hernando, yeah. The spots are full, so there's no room to actually compete. But if you want to come hang out,
try a burger
and eat a free burger, come hang out with us.
What else is going on at that? We've got a tea truck. What's a tea truck? Are they giving out Lipton iced tea or?
No, like those energy teas.
Oh, okay, I got you. Why do they call those teas?
I don't know. It's like a protein energy bomb.
Yeah, it's more of a caffeine bomb. It's pretty much what it is. You drink one of that. Don't drink one of those after noon.
They're real popular around here. Yeah.
Heck yeah, there's those little shops everywhere. So that's what it is. It's a mobile version of one of those.
Yes. And they have.
So you can come out and get jazzed up, feeling good.
They have a lot of other drinks, I think, but they'll be here too, and we'll have free burgers.
We need like a popsicle man or something.
We had a popsicle man that one time.
Yeah, Mem Pops would be a good one to have. Bring out the little wagon, the popsicle wagon. Also, I imagine it's going to be hot.
Also, we'll be at the Circle and Square Brewery in Oxford, Mississippi on July 27th. More details on that one to come. Yeah, y'all come.
We're going to have some barbecue out there too. You can get cold beer and barbecue and get to hang out. That's a win-win-win.
That's a good day.
Heck yeah.
Okay, now back to Outlaw Fest.
Outlaw Fest.
What is Outlaw Fest?
So it started out as like a friendly competition that Jay Craig would put on at his house for guys that were, I guess, his buddies and for guys that were cooking on Outlaw Pits. And I've got to go up to it and actually cook it there. And I think Mark's been going the past 2 or 3 years. And it was just a fun time, something in the summer to do, friendly rib competition. They do like a 1-bite challenge, and they always have a dessert category, kind of get everybody involved. It's just a one-day thing, but at Mark, since people were coming from out of town, it turned into people showing up on Thursday, and there was a Thursday night, Friday night. We did like a open bar hospitality night. Yeah, you did a bunch of like charcuterie plates and set out, and then we had
and you bought a case of Fireball.
Okay, that was the highlight of the evening.
When I say a case, you're probably thinking like one of those little 10, 12 piece sections.
No,
there's
a dozen of those in there. It's 120 shots of Fireball in the little airplane bottles, and we would do 3, 2, 1s all night long.
Everybody kept asking. Mark said the next day people were asking, "Why does Shell pinch Malcolm?"
So much. I'm like black and blue from getting pinched.
Like, baby, don't try all the shots.
Hey, I'm a very good bartender. And my philosophy is, if you want a shot, I'm going to do a shot with you. I don't want you drinking alone. It gets you in so much trouble. I promise you. Hey, I was at home in bed by 10:30, and I was back out there at 7-ish, lighting the pits before my teammates ever showed up. I got asked, Mark was like, "You want to cook?" And I was like, "Man, I want to come hang out. I don't want to be responsible for a whole team or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to come out and do something." So my buddies Ben and John Hoggard invited me to cook with them, and so they had brought we cooked on an in-law. That's what I called it. It was a homemade pit, but it ran really good. I'd never cooked on it before, so we were,
what
a learning experience for me.
What were the dimensions of the pit?
It was probably every bit of 6 foot wide by 4 foot deep, like a big giant box with 3 fire boxes welded to the backside. So you had like one on each end and one in the middle, and you built a fire in those, and they had like a hole through the back wall of the cooker, and that's what let the heat and smoke in, and it drafted down 2 looked like truck pipes that you'd see on an 18-wheeler on top. And that thing, I fired it up. I said, we need to get it hot first, and we'll check it back down, let it dial in. Ran it up to about 400 degrees, let those fires start to die down, lined it out at 275, and that jugger stayed there the rest of the day. So
You said you got there before your teammates and lit all the fire.
All the fires. I never ran that thing. Yeah, they said, "We never done that." I said, "Well, we did today." Got to get it hot first. I said, worst case scenario, people panic. Oh, my grill's too hot. What am I going to do? Well, if you got too big a fire, it's simple. Take some of that hot fire out. You got a shovel. Just get you a bucket, metal bucket, shovels, or put it in an old grill or something, but shovel those coals out. It's easy to do. We didn't. I just let them burn down. I started like 2 with lump and 1 with briquette. That way I get I wanted that middle box to be the one where we really regulated everything from. So I just got the outsides hot so it would heat the cooker up. And then I just let that lump die down, and we started adding sticks to the middle box, and it just held a smooth fire.
So what's your thinking process with getting it up high and then letting it just kind of...
I didn't know what had been living in that pit. That was kind of a self-clean cycle to me. So I'm at least get it good and hot. If anything's on it, burn it off. But no, it was fine. It was. John had actually pressure washed it. It was good to go. And I just like getting the grill good and hot. Even when I cook on stick burners, a lot of the comp guys, they run them up hot first to get a good hot fire, then check the pit back, adjust the vents, and it'll line right out. And to me, it helps. Like if you're cooking a brisket or big, something you want to really drive some heat into it first and make it swell up some. Those Wagyu briskets really do it. You can take a thin brisket, hit it on some high heat at first, and that joker will stand up. It swells. So
like inches.
That's kind of what you're thinking too. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was wanting to go along that route to where the grill's good and hot, ribs go on. It's going to lock in the flavor. It's going to start that rendering pretty early. Then we're going to dial it out. And then by the time I'm getting my color right, it's time to wrap them. And I did a regular old rib recipe. It wasn't nothing fancy at all.
What'd y'all run?
We were about mid-pack where we finished. But,
no, I was talking about your recipe.
I just used some AP and some regular rub. In the wrap, I did the old butter and honey and I did hot honey and apple juice. I used the Martinelli's apple juice and the Kerrygold butter. So it was real good stuff,
Yeah.
And they were good. We cooked St. Louis cut spare ribs. We had trimmed those up a little bit that morning, jerked the membranes off, and got them seasoned up and on, and they cooked, about 2 hours. They were ready to wrap. Another hour and 15, they were temping out. And then we held them for a while and glazed them and turned them jokers in. You had to build 2 boxes at this contest. They had a MBN crew come in and run the judging, so it wasn't like Mark wasn't responsible for judging. He actually hired some MBN reps to come out and do that. And they ran it like you didn't have an on-site round, but you turned in 2 boxes at the same time. So one was kind of like your prelim box, and if you made, I don't know what top 3, or I don't know how many they took it to get to that final box.
6 or something.
It could have been, but they went to that second box if they needed to, and that's how they kind of determined their final rankings. There was a lot of good rib cooks there, though. There was ended up being 19 or 20 teams in his backyard.
Yeah, you were cooking with the world champion too.
Yeah. Mojo was there.
Yeah.
It was good.
Do you miss competition?
No. No, I miss having fun like that.
Yeah.
Because, we went out there Friday night, and it was like an old school barbecue contest because Friday night was the party night. And then everybody was struggling. So I felt like we were all even Saturday morning. You get up and light those fires early, and we hung out all day. And I got out of there before the awards. I had to get back home. But we made, I don't know how many, we made several batches of bullfrog Friday night. And Mark made a big pot of jambalaya. He put pork belly in that jambalaya. It was dang good. If you never had pork belly in a jambalaya, man, it'll change it.
I'm not a big jambalaya fan. I'm just not a rice dish fan.
Yeah.
But I heard it was excellent. Yeah. Somebody made a corn dip on Friday night. It was really good. And then somebody had they didn't call it guacamole. They called it an avocado dip.
Yeah, but it was guac.
It was like a chunky guac, but it was delicious.
It was really good.
There was also a mystery category that you did.
Yeah, they call it one bite challenge, but you don't know what the one bite is. And so the way they run that, whoever wins the one bite challenge the previous year gets to pick what the one bite meat's going to be. And you don't know till the morning of
Do they have
the
to bring
contest.
it?
Yeah, they have to bring it. And I think they bring the receipt. So if they buy something, they get reimbursed as long as they got the receipt out of the entry fee or whatever.
Yeah.
So this year they picked, it was like Hillshire Farms smoked sausage, and everybody had to do a dish with that. You didn't know what it was going to be, so you kind of had to prepare, and you might have had a few minutes if you wanted to run to the store or something real fast. But I came up with, we didn't have a plan for it and didn't know what it was. And when we saw smoked sausage, I was like, man, what could we do that would be pretty easy but still be pretty good? So I did one of my sliders. I did a smoked sausage slider with a little coleslaw. We did, I took the sausages and kind of cut them into slider-sized chunks and then butterflied them where they'd lay out flat, seasoned them up, got them on the pit.
So on your slider, that the sausage would cover the whole
You'd have
square.
A piece of sausage over each little slider bun. Yeah, a little butterflied sausage. And so I did that. I put some cheese down sprayed the buns with the little butter spray, put some cheese down.
What cheese?
We just used a cheddar.
A shredded or?
No. It was just like sliced Argento or whatever. Put some of that down, put my smoked sausage on it, put a spicy garlic pickle, stuck that half in the pit. The top half of the bun, I just kind of made a little tray out of full and threw it on there to kind of toast it a little bit. And then when they came out, before I put them together, I put a little bit of coleslaw that we whipped up and on top, and then put the top bun on and cut them up and turn them in. They were pretty good.
A mayonnaise slaw?
You know what beat us, though? If you had to think of something, and I figured everybody would do these, but.
Sausage cheese plate?
No.
Pig shot?
Pig shots. That's what Mikey and Charles did those.
What are pig shots?
It's like you take a little round of smoked sausage and you make up a cream cheese mixture. You take a piece of bacon and you wrap that sausage and toothpick it, and it kind of makes a void in the top of it where the bacon's sticking out, like a little shot glass. And then you put your little cream cheese mixture in that, cook it till the bacon's right, and then top it with some sauce right at the very end. And it's a good bite. And I was like, man, that was the first thing that popped in my mind. And I was like, everybody's probably going to do that. So let's do something a little different. And I thought Jay did a really good one. He took the smoked sausage and chopped it up and did a pizza on the Outlaw. It was like a smoked sausage pizza. He's got a little pizza attachment that sits right over by the inlet of the firebox to the cook chamber. And it gets it real hot the way it throws heat in there, and he puts a stone in there, and so it gets that stone hot. And he cooked a little pizza. I mean, it was
but how
really
do you get the dough and the sauce and the?
I guess he knew he was going to make a pizza or whatever.
Whatever.
I wondered if some of those guys had a little intel on what we were having. Well, they didn't have to run to the store. But no, it all went good.
A pizza is a good thing. You could put a lot of stuff on.
It was. I was
it's like
really
sliders. You could do.
You could do whatever. Yeah, if you know you're going to make something, and that's what got me. I was like, man, something cheesy. Because judges like cheesy. Judges like cheesy. So that's how we ended up with the slider. And then we didn't do dessert, but you did dessert for everybody. You made 2 big banana puddings. And man, they went fast. When I brought those out.
It was pretty much 4 banana puddings. It was just 2.
2 containers, but it was 4 puddings.
Yeah.
It was it wasn't like a Nilla wafer banana pudding. It was, what'd you use?
So Nilla wafers, they're fine. They're good, Classic. They get a little soggy in the cookie, especially if you make it ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So I got golden Oreo cookies and crush them up and use them. And I thought it was delicious because you get
really
the
good.
cream from the middle of the Oreo cookie, but then you get the, that vanilla.
That'll probably be the
cookie.
next flavor Oreo watch, banana pudding Oreos.
That's a good one.
Yeah, banana cookie with the cream filling. It'd be easy to do.
But then the cookie held up a lot better in the,
The
being
texture
layered.
of it. Mm-hmm.
So you get crunchiness,
I like your banana pudding because it's not that old classic runny one with the egg meringue on top that you have to put in the oven. That is not, I know that's classic banana pudding, but I do not like
I
that
don't
one.
either.
I like the one with the
This is
cream
cold.
cheese, the Cool Whip. Yeah, it's a cold pudding. It has like a can of sweetened condensed milk. It's got all the bad stuff in it. It's
Yeah.
not good for you at all.
It's
Very, very minute amount of bananas.
the banana
You got to have a little banana in
it.
it, but you don't want it heavy on the bananas. At least I don't.
I don't either. I've tried it before with strawberries, and
It's
like the strawberries got too runny or
Yeah.
something. Bananas are really good.
they stand up to it.
They stand up. But the recipe is only like a 5-ounce box of instant vanilla pudding. Don't get the
Don't get
cooking serve or you're
Yeah.
screwed.
Oh yeah, or you do have to cook it and then let it chill before you can ever make it, right?
Yeah,
So it's
but
just
if you-
instant banana pudding. How long does it take to make a banana pudding?
Oh, 15, 20 minutes. So it's a 5-ounce box of the instant vanilla pudding, 3 cups of milk, 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, 1 block of cream cheese, and 1
Heck yeah.
tub of Cool Whip. Mix that all together and then layer it with bananas and cookies. The fruit and cookie of your choice.
And you can top it with additional whipped cream
Yeah,
at the end
additional
if you
whipped
want
cream.
to.
Yeah.
Little extra crunchy cookies on top.
That's what I do. I just use cookie crumbs. It looks good.
How do you think Biscoff cookies would be in it? Those
Ooh.
would be so good.
What would you still use bananas though?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, bananas Foster style banana pudding.
You could
Does
just
it have that caramelly? Because those cookies are kind of caramelly a little.
I love those cookies. They're kind of hazelnutty. On Sunday, you cooked a Low Country bowl.
That's what-
kind of.
Yeah, it was kind of a
It was-
cheating version.
It was all the elements of a Low Country bowl.
Well, what makes it a low
what are
country
you
bowl?
writing down there?
An idea.
Oh.
If it hits me, I got if I get an idea pops in my head, it's a concept. So we're not even going to talk about it. It's just a concept. But
Is it something to do with pudding?
yeah, the pudding is delicious. I was like, ooh, that's going to make a good video. Wait till I do this one. We'll get into that later. But yeah, that's so Low Country Bowl. It's basically a shrimp bowl. Like we boil crawfish, and I guess it's over in the Carolinas, the Low Country. Is that where like Georgia, South Carolina, that area over there, coastal Carolina? They call them Low Country Bowls, and basically they're shrimp, potatoes, sausage, corn. Real simple. They don't do a ton to it, and so that's kind of what I was going for. But I like to do it on the pit instead of having to fire up my bowling rig and do all that. It's super easy to do. You can start with frozen shrimp. You don't even have to have you don't have to have them thawed.
Do you worry about like a certain quality or
I
size?
I try to buy Gulf shrimp when I can. I know I want to support the guys down there, the shrimpers, and American shrimp's better or Gulf shrimp's better.
Yeah.
It tastes better. It tastes like shrimp. Doesn't have just you go get some of that cheap shrimp, the shrimp they put on sale at the grocery store, don't have any flavor at all. Don't even taste like a shrimp. It's like the shrimp's been bred out of it.
I want to taste the eye.
You want that brininess, and that's what I like, and so that's what I use. I usually look for those when I buy them, and when we go down there, I'll buy some and put it in the freezer if we go to the coast. And this is a great way to do it because it can already be. You don't have to. Usually, I don't use the peeled ones. They're in the shell. I mean, if you can get them deveined, but it doesn't. I don't mind. I'm used to the vein. Doesn't bother me too much.
To me, it's easier to peel them.
It is easier to peel them if you get the ones that have been pre-deveined. But I put those in a pan, couple sticks of butter, some lemon juice, season with king crawl, put me a good splashes of the liquid bull in there so I get all those flavors, and it goes on the pit. And you can cook it at 250, 275, 300, whatever you want. You just need to go stir it every few minutes. And it doesn't take long. This shrimp cook in, 35, 40 minutes. It's not a long cook at all. But when you do that, if you put your other stuff in there with the shrimp, it doesn't always get done.
Yeah.
So it's
like the shrimp are overcooked.
That's right. The shrimp's overcooked. The potatoes are undercooked. You can get the corn right. But I was like, well, what if we do the concepts of these separately?
Cook them how they'll be the best.
Yeah, but we bring them back together at the end, so you're serving it bowl style. And so that's what I did. So I did a version. I did my butter corn for the corn. I took just a half pan, and we bought some fresh corn.
What's that recipe?
Corn, butter, and salt. That's all it is. Three things.
Did you use three sticks this time?
It was about two and a half. I had the little quarter sticks, and I just went till I thought it was right. But you take the whole shucked cob of corn and cut it into kind of bite-sized pieces or corn niblets, however big you want them. Usually it's about half a cob. So you got a top half and a bottom half. And I put all those in a pan, put my butter in there. Don't even melt the butter. Just unwrap it and throw it in there and salt it really good and stick that on the pit. And every time I'm going to stir the shrimp, I'm grabbing me a basting brush and I'm basting that butter and kind of rolling that corn in the pan. And it cooks about the same time as the shrimp, but it gets the flavor of it's so good.
Really
and then you got all that good butter to dip your shrimp in. And that's the good thing about cooking the shrimp in the pan. Everything gets dipped in that. You've got these sauces you've already made. But the potatoes, they always stay hard when you try to cook them like that. You really have to wrap them up, put them in a bag, do something to get some steam. So there's this little restaurant in Hernando that is awesome. It's probably our best restaurant. It's called The Parish. It's a seafood restaurant, and the chef that started it kind of, he's got kind of Louisiana roots. He's been down there to culinary school, and he's learned all these, and he's an expert when it comes to cooking coastal Mississippi, Louisiana type food, that Cajun food. And he does these potatoes with his shrimp, boiled shrimp, or his crawfish or anything. They've got so much flavor in them. I was always trying to figure out how he was doing it because I didn't think he was boiling it with the stuff. It didn't taste like it, but it had the clove flavor. It had the elements of the boil.
And they're soft.
And they're soft and buttery.
And potatoey.
Yeah, just perfect. And so they give you a few of those when you order boiled shrimp or crawfish or something like that. You always get some of the potatoes. So I said, I'm going to try to make those. And so what we did, we took like a Corningware dish, put some liquid crab boil in it, put some butter in it, put some whole garlic cloves in it, and seasoned it, wash the potatoes and leave the peeling on. These are like little new red potatoes. Put them in that dish, put the lid on it, pop them in the microwave, get them a head start. And what it was like 3 minutes and stir them, 3 more minutes and just let them sit there and steam.
I think it was a total of 8 to 9 minutes.
Yeah, total. And those potatoes, when you put them back in with the shrimp and all that at the very end, the texture of them is excellent. I even had you temp check one because we figured out the perfect baked potato needs to go to 202.
Minimum.
Or minimum. So when those little potatoes got there, I was like, oh, yeah, they're done. Just set them to the side till I'm ready for them. And now we put them back in with everything, and man, they had all that flavor. You would have thought I boiled them in a big crawfish boil pot.
But they were perfect texture.
The texture was perfect. They weren't mushy. They were just pillowy, buttery, soft.
But also, like you threw in those whole cloves of garlic. They were as soft as the potatoes
because they have time to steam in there, and they're in that good flavor. I mean, they soak up the butter, they soak up the crawfish boil seasoning, a little of the king crawl.
But you pop those in your mouth. I love that's one of my favorite things out of a crawfish bowl. Aside from the crawfish, the little cloves of garlic because they just melt in your mouth and they're so good.
And then you got to have a bread because that's what you do all your sopping with.
Well, you had sausages too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So with the sausage, instead of just cutting it up and throwing it in there with the shrimp, which you could have done, I wanted to render it some, and so I kind of Hasselbacked it to where when you cut it, a lot of that fat will get out of that smoked sausage, and it doesn't take it long in the pit. I did an andouille and like a kielbasa, so you'd have 2 different flavors. And then I had them Hasselback cut, so when they were done, I just could slice right through them, make them into chunks.
Them on the smoker.
I put them on the smoker right in between the corn and the potatoes, and they only took about 30 minutes. 20, 30 minutes, that sausage is ready. Cut it up, throw it in there with the shrimp at the end so it gets in all that buttery goodness and adds a little flavor to the shrimp just at the very end. You got something. I mean, that's a fine meal with some warm French bread and some room temp butter.
And I made a coleslaw too.
Yep, and we had a coleslaw. So we did have some vegetables to go with it.
It wasn't just butter.
It wasn't just butter.
But I love the concept that you had of like, we could throw these one big bag or one big pot and cook it all together, but let's cook it however it's the best and then bring it together
at the end. Yeah. And it's really good. It was really good.
And it was easy, really.
Yeah.
You put everything on the pit, and I had the potatoes in the microwave, and that's
the coleslaw was been sitting in the fridge for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Just throw it in a bag and add your blue plate and a little sugar and little seasonings, and you're good to go. And some green onion.
I didn't even do that. I had a bag of coleslaw and had a coleslaw dressing.
Oh, you used the dressing?
It was a Kroger brand too.
Yeah, it was good.
Because they were sold out of the one the brand that shall not be named.
You were gonna go stoop down and try it.
But the Kroger brand was better than that
It was
one.
good, yeah. I would recommend that. It reminded me of the coleslaw you get at the Steamer in Orange Beach. It's probably my favorite. When I go to Orange Beach, Alabama, I have to go to the Steamer. It's like crab legs, shrimp. I don't even know if they have a fryer or a griddle in there.
They have a big sign that says no fried.
Yeah, and their coleslaw tastes just like that. So they've got to be doing like, it's probably a Cisco or U.S. Foods coleslaw dressing. They're just mixing in house and serving it to the masses. Adding
a little more seasoning to it, yeah.
Yeah, because it has a little celery seed flavor to it.
Yeah, I always do that. I add AP or TX and then extra celery seed and green onions.
Quick and easy seafood coleslaw.
Perfect. Also, we did a burger video where the concept wasn't a recipe. It was just about the techniques of making
tips and techniques on how to make you the Burger King. So anytime, like when I'm making burgers at home, I like to use ground beef. I don't like to use the pre-patted stuff. I mean, pre-patted stuff's okay if you're in a hurry and don't want to mess with it. But it's so easy. You can go on Amazon and buy you a little burger press. They're $15 or cheaper. You can buy some really good ground beef. Or if you like to really play with your different flavors, you can buy a ground sirloin or you can buy a ground chuck and you can combine them and get the ratio right. Or you can just go buy the cheap 70-30 stuff or whatever, 80-20. But I like to mix it because I like to put different stuff in my burgers. So it really works, and it makes a better burger if you do it yourself and you don't overpack it. That was my tips for making a better burger. Is first, weigh it. You want to add a tablespoon of Blue Plate to the burger first, because it adds a richness. You never know what's in there, but it adds some extra fat, a little bit extra oil in that burger, and when it cooks, it stays juicy. I mean, it really does. It doesn't change the flavor at all, but it makes it really makes a juicy burger. And to me, it helps it stick together too. It's kind of acts as a little bit of a binder.
Can you tell a difference in burgers that you add mayonnaise to?
Yeah. It doesn't change the texture. It just adds, to me, it's juicier. And so I always add 1 tablespoon per pound, but I always get me a little kitchen scale and weigh out my burger meat. Whatever you do, because you want them equal, because they're going to cook the same. Everything's going to look uniform. You're not going to end up with these little hockey pucks and then a big old juicy burger. You want to weigh it out and get the proportions the same. And then use your burger
What's
press.
your weight?
I like a 1/3 pound burger, a 1/2 pound. If I'm wanting to make, like, you're only going to eat one burger and that's your main thing you're eating for that dinner, like a dinner burger, it's going to be a 1/2 pounder. But if I'm just making, pull burgers, hanging out in the backyard, got kids, usually going to stick to the 1/3 pound. 1/4 pound's a little too small for me.
I don't like the 1/2 pounds. I think it's too much
Too
meat
much.
too.
I like I like almost like a steak burger on a bun. That's how I like them. But I mean, usually that's what I do. And I'll use my burger press, and to keep that burger press clean, I'll take a Ziploc bag, take some scissors, and just split it. That way it goes in the press. You put your ball of burger meat that you didn't really work too much in the center, and you press it down. It makes the perfect patty. You take it out, put it on a plate. Everything's clean. Stick that plate in the refrigerator for a little bit just to firm back up while you get your grill good and hot. And I do a 2-zone fire. I want a 2-zone fire on burgers.
How important is the refrigerator?
I think it's pretty important, because if you have trouble with your burgers wanting to fall apart on you, the mayonnaise is going to help. But getting them cold again, depending on how long they've been sitting out, if you're pretty fast about it, go right to it. Go to cooking them. But if you're, I usually like to form them and then give them time to sit. And I'm not talking hours, like, 20, 30 minutes. Not long. Just to stay cool while I'm getting my grill ready, basically. Because if you leave them out at room temperature, things are going to want to start, the breaking down a little bit. They're heating up. The burger can fall apart on you. This way they stay together. You don't have to add an egg or breadcrumb. We're not making meatloaf. It's just a burger with a little mayonnaise in it. So
do you season? Because in your video you didn't actually show the seasoning process. Do you season burgers?
Yeah, I usually hit them with AP or something like that. Sometimes I'll put a little Worcestershire on the outside and hit them with AP. That's kind of up to you. Whatever you like on a burger. Steak rub's good on it. TX is good on it. Heck, I've done barbecue burgers.
Huey's seasoning.
Huey's is a good local seasoning that's good on burgers. That's kind of my standard for burgers in our area. Like, that's the mark to beat.
I hadn't had a Huey's burger in so long.
I hadn't either. It's been a while.
Anyway, so
2-zone fire. And the reason why I do a 2-zone fire is so I can slow the cook down. I want to put my burger over there, and I don't want to flip it. I don't want to do anything to it. I want to get it to the cooler side of the grill to where there's not direct flames under it yet. It's just cooking. It's starting the cooking process, and you start it out slow. And you'll start seeing some of those meat juices come to the top of it. The color will start changing. It'll start firming up. The more you flip them, if you're constantly flipping that burger, you're just leaving room for it to fall apart on you. If you do it this way, it's all going to stick together. I usually put a little indention in it. Some people say you don't have to do that. I think it makes mine from becoming a meatball. It fills itself back in, but it just keeps that burger from – it gives it a way for it to not just spread all up in one place. By putting that indention in, it has to spread up evenly when it stands up.
I think that makes a difference. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
But I always do that.
How long do you go on the
It's about 10 to 12 minutes, something like that. I never really time it that close. I just kind of look and watch. I'm not looking for a specific internal temperature. No flipping. Just letting it sit there and cook. Could you flip it? After about 8-10 minutes, you probably could flip it and you'd be okay. But I don't like to mess with it. I don't want to move them too much once I get them on the grate. Once I see it's kind of set and I've kind of got that outer crust going, I'm starting to get some pretty good color. It's usually gray. It's not getting too much color on it. I've got my hot side over here. This is when I want to sear them. So I'll flip that burger then one time, let it go just like 2 minutes, and it's going to be raining grease. You've already got that puddle of grease in that little depression we've made, and it's starting to make it flame broiled. That's where you're getting your flavor from, and you want the flames to jump up and kiss it. But you're not walking away from it either. The first part, you can walk away a little bit. Get your sides ready, go toast your buns. The second part, when you got it over direct heat, don't walk away from the grill. You're going 1 to 2 minutes to get the sear action going. You're going to flip it one more time, sear that other side really good, move it back to the cool side. That's when you want to start checking your internal temperature. For me, I'm kind of a medium. If I know the burger meat, I'm medium. I don't mind some pink. I'm not eating it medium rare. I just don't eat ground meat medium rare. You probably would, wouldn't you?
Yes.
but I order mine medium, and when I go to Huey's, I order it medium. If I'm eating a fast food burger, it better be well done. I ain't chancing those.
I don't think they'd come any other way.
Yeah, but I move it back to the cool side, and that's when you can put your probe in it and check it. You're looking for 135 right in there. That's where I'm going for 140. It's going to carry over some. What's
done? 145.
145 would be well done on a steak. But I would probably if
I'm talking burger, ground meat.
Probably closer to 160.
Oh,
that way
really?
It'd carry over to 165. And they say ground needs to go to 165. That's nuked though.
Yeah.
It really is. But you don't want to be burger sick. Something's gonna keep you in the bathroom. That's for certain.
But you shoot for 135 to 140.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. If
and
I know the
have
meat,
a carryover.
Yeah, that's right. And it's gonna carry over, and that's when I cheese it. And it doesn't take 30 seconds to melt a slice of cheese on it. Then it goes
What's
to the
your
burger.
cheese of choice?
I switch it up. Sometimes I'm feeling pepper jacky. Sometimes I'm feeling, Colby Jack. Sometimes I'm feeling just cheddar. Sometimes I like Kraft American singles.
Yeah.
It just depends.
The deluxe.
Yeah, the deluxe ones. Yeah. But I'm not a snob when it comes to cheese on a burger. I like it all. I even like blue cheese on them sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I go on a toasted bun. Now, everybody builds a burger the way they like it, but a classic to me is a light layer of mayo, the blue plate on the bottom bun. Give me some thin dill pickle slices, the restaurant style like I get at Kroger. They're just a generic brand, but man, they're so good on a burger.
It's hard to find them anywhere else.
Yeah, aren't they called fast food pickles or something like
Restaurant style pickles.
Yeah. They're not the little ridgy ones. They're smooth.
Like McDonald's. Yeah.
And then I go a little thinly sliced white onion, a little tomato, a little lettuce, burger, cheese on top, a little more mayo on that top bun, and that's it for me. I'm not a mustard. I'm not a ketchup guy. I don't have to have it. It's okay if you like it, but all you need is some good blue plate.
Somebody asked why put your toppings on the bottom.
I don't know. Why not?
I think it
as a layer. I don't want to eat them. I don't want that mama burger like Eddie Murphy used to talk about. Your fingers go through the bun, the grease is sopping. I'm thinking of it as a barrier. So I've got me some mayonnaise, I've got my pickle layer, I've got me some onion, tomato, lettuce. Then I put that hot meat on there, and then the top bun's got a little more mayo. It's okay on that one, but I don't want it to sog all the way through. Yeah. So that's why I build them like that.
I kind of like putting my lettuce on top, but everything else needs to be on the bottom. Because I feel like it falls off too easy.
I like to dress it before I put the burger on it for some reason. I'll have all that ready, and then I'll go get the hot burger and put it right on top, and it's ready to eat. You put it on there, you got to stack it up on top. I don't know. Is there a right or wrong way to build your burger?
No, it's your burger.
Yeah, y'all send us pictures of how y'all building burgers this summer.
This weekend, this week, the video you released was gas grill ribs.
Yeah, I hadn't cooked on a gas grill in a long time at home. I've cooked on it like been out on vacation or something, had to use one.
So, do you get your smoker card revoked by?
Absolutely not.
Cooking
I cook on
grill.
pellet grills. I cook on smokers. If you can cook on it, I want to know how to do it. Heck, we even brought a indoor smoker in here and cooked on it. You don't think I'll cook on anything?
I don't think that company's happy with this, but
why? Is that Tyler?
I know they sent us another one because the first one that we had on here was like, we assumed the scratch and dent model.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, the food that came out that day was pretty good.
Good.
It wasn't bad, I think.
We need another test.
It was cooked.
It was cooked. Yeah. I like that.
Tyler, we need you to cook we need you to cook a bud on it, Tyler.
Okay.
Just let it roll all night.
I could do that.
He's got small children.
He can put it on before he gets off work.
They're fine.
Just let it go.
I'm more worried about the carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about it at his house. He can do it here at the office while we're not
Okay.
here. Nobody gets poisoned.
That's why I love y'all, the community, because y'all were like looking through the warning manuals for us and all kinds of stuff, making sure we.
Warning manual? What's that?
It was like, don't use in small enclosed spaces. And I kind of looked around the room like, oh.
Don't get much smaller in this closet, does it?
Let's
I'm in
fire up
here.
a grill.
About to pass out. Man, something's wrong. Oh, probably should have read some
We should
instructions.
do a giveaway and give that.
Yeah, that would be really good. We'll figure that out, how to do that.
Okay. So
You got to come to the shop and get it.
yeah. It's kind of heavy. Maybe we'll do a giveaway at the burger
Yeah.
contest.
But I was cooking. So this video that I did, I got the chance to try out the new to me. It's a Members Mark from Sam's Club, 5-burner, 2 cooking speeds grill. It has 2 functions. You can standard grill on it just like any propane grill, or you can set it to thermostatically control. And what it does, it has like a built-in thermostat on this grill. So you've got a propane grill that you can set to whatever temperature you want to cook at. So when I saw that, I was like, let me see if I can cook some ribs on it. Because I get people ask questions about cooking, ribs on a propane grill. And propane grills, I mean, we don't like to think it, but they're probably the number one grill that's sold in America. I mean, more people have gas grills than they do charcoal or smokers or pellets. It's a big share it has market share. There's more models of those than probably anything.
I imagine like all the condos that we've ever visited, they're always gas grills.
Yeah.
Like any VRBO, they typically have gas grills.
When you see people installing outdoor kitchens, that's the first thing they're going into is their gas grill. That's their centerpiece usually. And there's some high dollar gas grills. We've talked about it on here before about how expensive some of these grills get.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But, now I'll be the first to say, is it the same as smoking? Heck no. You're not going to get those. It's not the same. I don't care if you introduce some smoke to it like I did in the video or not. It's not the same thing as smoking. You're basically grilling everything you cook on it. But I do like the features on this grill about being able to control it and set it to whatever
Is that
temperature.
a new feature?
I mean,
New to you.
new to me because I hadn't been looking at gas grills in years,
Yeah.
probably a decade. It's been a long time. The last one I know that I owned was probably a Napoleon, and I did some recipes on it back in the day. But this grill
Same
has
kind of situation. They sent you one.
sent me one to try out.
Yeah.
And if somebody says that, I'm all
You will
about trying
not
new
turn
stuff.
one down.
Well, I like trying new grills.
I begged you, please. We don't.
But
need
it
that
surprised
one.
me. It cooked ribs really well. The temperature did what it said it would do. I set it to 250 and it stayed right at that range. It may have crept to 275 a couple times, but it was pretty evenly controlled. The way this grill works is you set your outer burners to high and the middle burner to high. So you've got 3 of the 5 on high, and you've got the dial turned to what temperature you want to hold it. And I'm guessing it's regulating the flame on those burners by the thermostat that's on the back wall. That's kind of it's probably has a high-low range or whatever, and it tells it to give it more gas or to cut it back. It never goes all the way out. You always have like a pilot situation going. You don't have to reignite it. But it was holding those temps pretty steady. I knew that I wasn't going to get a smoked rib when I did them on this. It was really a grilled rib. But I was thinking about what could I do to get a little more smoke in there. And, there's different products on the market. Amazing Smoke Tubes is one that I've seen you could use pellets on. I've got one somewhere that I've used before. But you could make just aluminum foil, ball up some chips in it. But I had a little
Smoke
tray.
bomb. Yeah.
Smoke bomb. And that's basically what I did. I used a little aluminum tray, filled it full of some hickory chips, put aluminum foil over the top of it, poked me some holes in it, and I set it back on the grill over one of the burners to where it's going to get hot, but it's never going to get hot. And you've restricted the oxygen to where it can't really flame. All it's going to do is make those chips start to smolder, and the smoke's going to escape through the little holes you put on the top. And that's what I did. So I got it. It smelled good. Did it add a lot of smoke flavor to the meat? No.
Well, you put it on the same time you put the ribs on, and it took it a while to catch.
Yeah. It was 30 or 40 minutes before it really ever started smoking. I should have had that going first and had it smoking before I ever put them on, and I probably could have got some more in there. But the color on these ribs, I was kind of doing just a classic rib approach. Let's trim them. Let's pull the membranes off. Let's put a little light coat of mustard on them and hit them with some AP and barbecue rub. Let them sit at room temperature till they start sweating good. The grill's up to temp. Throw them on. Get me some color on them. So after about an hour, I was looking at them, man, they're looking good. They're starting to render. You're starting to see some of that meat sweats happen, So I was like, well, let's flip them over and get some even color on them. Because I was thinking the backside's probably going to be getting too hot.
Because you don't typically do that. You typically
normally I
let
don't.
It go.
Yeah, but normally my flame is not right up under my meat when I'm cooking ribs either. Drum would be the closest one to where I do have a fire right under it, but it's 14 to 16 inches away. So you still got some buffer. But on this gas grill, those burners are pretty daggone close. If I had to guess, I bet you they're within 10 inches. And so I was like, well, the bottom of those ribs could be getting a little torched because I didn't know first time I ever cooked on this thing. But I flipped them and they looked great. Color was good. The bones weren't popping through. They weren't burning up. I was getting, the little edges of the ribs are looking right the way you wanted to. So I was like, we'll go an hour meat down and see what it does. Flipped them back over after that. They're looking great, getting to the color I want. Still got some smoke trickling over there in my bomb. Then it was time to wrap them up when I got the color right. That's all you're doing first is you're cooking to color. You just, whatever grill you're cooking on, you want to get that meat to a good color to where the rub's stuck to it. It's not going to rub off when you touch it. Kind of formed a bark, starting to get that caramelized dark color look because the sugars in your seasonings are going to do that. That's when you want to wrap. And that's what's getting tender. Now, I probably could have kept beat up, flip it for an hour, flip it back over, and rocket them like that and cooked them the whole way without even wrapping them. They would eventually got there.
It would have taken a little longer.
Probably would have took a little longer to really break down the fat and render them because that's what the wrap does. It helps speed up that process. At the first part, I was probably, 2 hours, 15 in by the time I got them wrapped and back on. In the wrap, I used some of my zero sauce. I didn't want something super sweet.
I thought it was funny how you were like, I'm not going to put a lot of sugar in this wrap.
But I splashed apple juice.
Yeah,
I didn't put much. If you look, that was one little bottle of apple juice for 2 wraps of ribs, and I bet I didn't even use half that bottle. So if you had to measure it, I didn't put more than a tablespoon or 2 in each rib.
Could you have used water or
you could have
something?
You
else
want some
that
liquid.
have-
You want some liquid in there to help it make steam and to kind of braise inside that foil. That's what you need. And you could have used whatever you wanted. I could have used a dyed apple juice, could have used water, could have used vinegar, anything like that.
You just need a moisture, some sort of.
I didn't add any extra butter or anything. I didn't add honey. I didn't do all that stuff. I was keeping it pretty simple.
You could have added butter.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. But
Could have made it a little richer. But wrapped them up tight, stuck them back on the pit, meat down, checked them in about an hour. They were all rocking 204, 205, right in that range. So at that point, they were done to me. I pulled them out. I made me some little boats just to set them in to take them back to the pit.
That's a trick you've been doing forever.
Yeah.
It works really good when you're using, when you dry rub, set it, and then add your sauce to it. Because
that's right.
Sauce.
But I was going for a dry rib. That's the way we like to eat them. And so I made my little boat, stuck them back on there with a little bit more rub to get my color back. They went about 30 more minutes to dry out really good. They probably could have went 15 and been fine. And it wasn't like they were still getting tender or anything. They was cooked as much as they were going to cook. But at that point, I could have glazed them. Like if you like a wet rib or a saucy rib, that's when you would want to put the glaze on, let that set for 5-10 minutes, and then you're ready to cut them up and serve them. And you could see in the video, I mean, they were tender. I broke them by hand. The bite was clean. The rib bones chalked up like they were supposed to. They were good, but it wasn't a smoked flavored rib. It was more like, just good pork. You really tasted the meat itself. You tasted the seasonings you put on it. Smoke did not overpower anything because there wasn't a lot of it. And it had kind of a grilled flavor. That was about it. I mean, but could you cook ribs on it? Absolutely. It'll flat cook ribs. And there's a lot of cooking service on that grill too.
It's
So I'd say, and the kicker is, I was told that grill's $700.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not the best value in a propane grill, I don't know what is. It's worth $700 all day
They have
long.
some cheaper ones that are not the thermostatically controlled.
That Members Mark line.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was it's a major grill company, one of the big ones that makes grills for everybody, made that for Sam's Club, and they wanted a specific price point. Greg Rimpey did a whole thing on it. He got one too and was cooking on them. And so if y'all want to go check out the Barbecue Central podcast, he kind of talked more about it in one of his latest episodes.
More about the actual
grill.
grill.
I think it was 2 episodes ago, maybe. I can't remember exactly which one it was.
But this
it was a couple ago.
This one's a 5-burner with the thermostatically controlled for $700, but then they have a 5-burner for cheaper than that and a 3-burner for
cheaper
super
than that. So
cheap.
yeah, that's a good deal. Well, I mean, I was really impressed with the quality of the grill. Everything's the fit and finish of everything. I like the little viewing window. It has a side burner that's like an infrared burner that gets screaming hot.
It looks
It
nice,
does like
big.
1,500 degrees like the Schwank, but it's done it from bottom. It looks good. I mean, it's got that stainless look to it. Everything seems to be well constructed on it, well made, especially for that value. That's, if you're looking for a propane grill, I would highly go put your hands on it.
What's the best thing to cook on a propane grill?
When I think of propane grills, I'm thinking something that's fast.
Kebabs.
So we're cooking, we're cooking burgers, we're cooking dogs, we're cooking chicken, we're cooking steaks. Anything that's fast cooking is when I think of propane grills, that's what I'm thinking of. But I'm pretty sure they make accessories for this one. It has a place for a rotisserie attachment on it. So you could do rotisserie, anything on it, chickens, pork loins, things like that.
Pineapples.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a place for propane grills. I mean,
Do you remember that recipe where you soaked pineapples, like whole cored pineapples in
Fireball?
Fireball?
Yeah.
I think it was before Fireball. It was like Jack whiskey or,
I've done it several
cinnamon
different
Jack.
ways. I've done the slices. I've cut them up and done them with the brown sugar.
And then you coat it with brown sugar and rotisserize it.
Man, it's good.
It is good. Malcolm, let's pay some bills.
All right. The How to Barbecue Right podcast is brought to you by our friends at Primo Grills. Chelle, did you know that Primo is the only ceramic grill made right here in the good old USA?
What? Are you telling me that Primo Grills are proudly crafted here in the USA, ensuring top-notch quality and support for local craftsmanship?
I sure am. Plus, Primo Grill not only delivers mouth-watering flavor, but because of their innovative oval design and superior ceramic construction, Primo Grills also gives you a ton of cooking versatility.
Whether you're smoking low and slow or searing a steak to perfection, Primo Grills gives you the consistent heat distribution for mouth-watering results every time.
What she said, y'all. Y'all visit primogrill.com and check them out.
I have a note on my podcast notes about Tyler burning down a grill on vacation.
Yeah, first off, welcome back, Tyler. Glad to have you back at the office.
What up, y'all?
He's been gone. Man, it seemed like he was out 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Stranded on the left coast.
I kind of was, man. It seems like every kid I add to the repertoire, it gets a little bit harder to travel every single time.
I cannot imagine taking
3.
3 under 5. 3 under 5 on a plane from Memphis to LA.
2 planes. It takes 2 planes to get there.
Oh, yeah. Y'all didn't have
and
a
then
straight
2
shot.
planes back.
Yeah, so before I left, I told y'all 2 things. One thing was I said if me and my wife make it through the first trip, then we're meant to be. That, because I knew we'd be fighting and stuff like that. And then the second thing is I was like, I'm going to assume worst case scenario. I'm going to assume they all scream. They're all mad. They're all like anything that could go wrong will go wrong. And really on the way there, they were fine. Like they did great. They were excited. We were on an airplane. We were going to see grandma and grandpa. The baby slept a lot. Like we were golden. And then on the way back, that was the worst case scenario.
So what
Well,
happened?
you got delayed and then delayed and then delayed.
Break down your California trip. What'd y'all do?
Yeah. So when we were in California,
Besides burn a house down.
We went to the LA County Fair a lot, and if y'all have never heard of the LA County Fair or seen anything on it, it is one of the biggest county fairs in America.
I'd love to go see that. That seems awesome.
It is humongous. They literally sell anything that you could possibly want, from toe rings all the way up to...
Is it like avocado on a stick and
Oh, yeah. They had...
tofu burgers and tofu Italian sandwiches and stuff? Or is it like real good stuff?
Oh, no, there was good stuff. Like anything, any kind of food that you could possibly have wanted was there and represented. They had Asian food trucks, they had vegan food trucks like you're talking about, but they also had tons of barbecue. I mean, the turkey legs, any corner that you were looking, there was a turkey leg somewhere.
What was like the number one item at the barbecue vendors? Do you remember? Was it like tri-tip or was it pulled pork or brisket or?
There was a lot of like barbecue Sundays. Like
Yeah.
all of the food vendors had a barbecue Sunday of some sort, and there was multiple different meats. But a lot of them, because of the heritage in the area, they had a lot of like carne asada. And,
I was going to say, did you get taco? I bet street tacos were
oh yeah.
fire over there.
I had the best birria taco I've ever had from a food truck there. Like the first day we went, we literally just ate around the whole place. Like
That's the best part about fairs.
I know.
It really is. I don't need all the rides and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
The games, no.
But
Just
we
go to
don't get
food
the
court.
good fairs like he went to. Yeah.
like we would buy, like one of us would go to a food truck, we'd just take turns doing it, and we'd all buy one thing from the
Yeah.
food truck, and then we'd all just eat off.
That's a
each
good way to
other's.
do it. So you get to try a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, and then we were drinking a lot, so like there was, because they had that was the craziest part to me, was like there were draft systems all over the entire fair. So like, and then they had probably over like 50 beers represented in these draft systems. So like you
Any
could
gold
get
top?
pretty much in it. Yeah, of course. But I tried a local one, and I want to say it was called like Citrus Lounge or something like that. It was really, really good. It was kind of weedy, blue moony. But anyway, so then they just had like bizarre food. So one thing I noticed, that the theme of this fair was probably like flamin' hot, because all the food trucks had some sort of. I even saw flamin' hot Cheeto ramen, which is something I never even.
That seems like something my kid would love.
Yeah.
never would have considered. But and then they had loaded fries, tots, etc. And there were rides everywhere. I mean, there was like a kids area, and then there was another kids area. But then there was like, have y'all ever seen I've seen them a lot in like Alabama when you're going to the beach, but like the slingshot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a few
Those
of
pop
those.
up on my Facebook all the time. It's amazing how many women like to ride those things.
I was gonna say it.
Have you seen them, Tyler?
Yeah.
On our TikTok? Like, what?
Yeah.
They may or may not be wearing bras.
Yeah.
And they were always next to the kids section, so I guess they were trying to give you something to look at while the kids were riding their rides. But anyways, so yeah, it was just
So that sounds like that was all fun.
yeah, it was crazy. And
Did you go to the ocean? Did you go to the beach?
we did. We went to the beach one day. That was really fun. I mean, the beaches over there, man, they're just not. They're not the Emerald Coast beaches.
Yeah.
The sand isn't as pretty. We did see like tons of dolphins and stuff in that area, and then the seafood was pretty good for being like Southern California.
Mhm.
You know, no shots there. Craziest thing I ate at the fair though was like a raspberry chipotle glazed fried chicken sandwich with Captain Crunch all over it. And initially I thought that would be included in the batter, and it wasn't. It was kind of like they deep fried chicken, which the chicken was delicious.
What cut of chicken was it?
I want to say it was a boneless, skinless thigh that was
Okay.
deep fried. That's what it seemed like to me. It was real juicy.
What's up with this Captain Crunch craze?
I don't know.
Because the new Korean corn dog place here in town has one. I saw someone. Didn't you tell me you had it the other day, or someone had it?
Yeah, Mark ate it, I think. And it's weird. Like, I thought this was going to be super bizarre, and I just wanted to try something that was like completely out in left field just so I could tell y'all that I did. But it was sweet. Like the raspberry chipotle sauce on top was like super sweet. So then paired with the Captain Crunch, like it wasn't the craziest flavor like I thought it would be, but it was okay.
Yeah.
Like I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I wouldn't probably eat it again.
Yeah, that doesn't sound resounding.
Yeah. So then one of the days I was out there
Is
at
it
my
right by one of those weed shops they have out there? That may be why it's getting so weird.
yeah, that's probably true too. There was I think there was a couple like vendors around that you could go to at the LA County Fair.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
It's different California. Things are different California.
It was a good time.
So you took something to cook, didn't you? Or how did that go down?
So I had sent my dad a Snake River Farms American Wagyu brisket for whatever. Like I thought he was going to cook it. And he saved it for when we came out because he was like, man, you just cook them so good. And I was like, all right. So my family was throwing like my youngest, Benjamin, his first birthday is coming up. So they're like, let's do a big first birthday for Ben. So I cooked a brisket overnight, did the overnight pellet grill cook on a Rectech. Smooth sailing, came out really good. And then
Can't mess it up.
Can't mess it up, man. It was too easy. Set it and forget about it. So while it was resting, I went up to my dad because my dad was cooking what he calls huli huli chicken. And so he had already had it marinating and stuff like that. And I knew he had been eyeing the pellet grill all day. And I was like, please, like, just don't do it. You have a Blackstone. The recipe you're cooking up will be great on the Blackstone. Just cook it on the Blackstone. I told him this several times. And then I'm inside doing something, and my wife comes running in. She was like, Tyler, you need to get outside now. And I was like, what? And then I walk outside. I turn the corner. My dad's got the pellet grill lid open. There's flames like almost touching the roof of his house. And it was an absolute. And he was like, you lit my grill on fire. This is I was like, are you serious? Right? Like, you're going to, like, and everybody's
like, had you turned it off and shut it down and everything?
Yeah.
It was off.
It was completely off. And there was just too much going on at the time for me to stop and, like, deep clean it, because like I said, it was American Wagyu brisket. There was drippings on drippings on drippings down in that thing.
No, and you know, he may not have cleaned it before you cooked the brisket on it.
Yeah, so then I go into Operation Rescue the Chicken mode because we needed the chicken because the brisket was like 14 pounds, but we had probably 40 people involved in this cookout. So I was like, all right, so I'm like scraping the chicken off over the hot coals. And I mean, they're getting flamed. Like, they were starting to look pretty good, but I got them in a pan so we could finish them on the Blackstone. And in the process of doing this, like, they're closing it, opening it, and then closing it. And there was probably like 3 or 4 pieces left. And he goes to open it again. I was like, the oxygen is just making it bigger every time. So just stop opening the lid. There's only 4 pieces. We're good. They opened it again, and it kind of like engulfed even bigger than in the picture I shared on the community page. But man, it was pretty crazy. And then we shut it.
The picture.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. It's fireballs. Like, it's way worse than when you did those Wagyu burgers on the Traeger.
Who took the picture?
My wife did.
Yeah.
And I told my dad
He's got a look of panic in his face.
Yeah.
His dad does.
I was like, we're using that for your memoriam. So that's going to be the front page. But
did he learn anything?
No, he just blamed. He continued to blame. He was like, Tyler should have cleaned it. And I was like, there's just no way, man. There was not enough time. And then I finished them on the huli huli chicken on the Blackstone. And man, it was they were really, really good. Yeah. If you like charred up chicken, like,
y'all know me and burnt ass chicken, man. That's my jam. I do not recommend doing that to a pellet grill. And if you want to catch a pellet grill on fire, that's a great way to do it. Cook something low and slow that has to really render, that you're doing that overnight, and shut it down and come back the next day and put it on 400 and see what happens. You're going to burn it down. It's guaranteed. That grease will catch fire once it gets over. I don't know. What do you think the smoke point is for Wagyu fat like that? It's probably around 400 something, you know? Yeah.
My favorite part
over 4, but it'll guarantee you it'll catch on fire.
My favorite part of the whole thing was like my dad he's always talking about how Rectex just get hot. He's like, my grill can go up to like 600 degrees.
Is that what he was doing for that chicken too, Tyler?
Yeah.
What do you have it set on, you know?
No, I actually never checked. But after it was all said and done, I was like, I see what you're talking about now. Like, this thing does get pretty
flamethrower.
Was it salvageable?
The chicken, yeah. The grill, I think he'll be fine. I think as long as he deep cleans it like he should and stuff. Because, he's like, oh, it just burned all the grease off, so I don't even have to. No, I would clean it.
You definitely need to degrease it. Definitely need to at least like take a little piece of steel wool and make sure your probe's not all corroded.
And if you look in that picture, I also kept screaming, move the Pam, because there was a thing of Pam sitting right in front. I was like, I thought that was going to explode. And nobody was paying any attention to what I was saying. And I think I like finally kicked it in the pool or something. And it was like super hot to the touch. Like, it was probably seconds from blowing up.
You should definitely not open the lid, get it unplugged, get it away from any structure, and anything flammable.
It was coming out the sides, the fire pot, like anywhere that the fire could come out, it was coming out.
Things can go wrong fast with a grill.
They can. That's why you should always clean them. So
I feel like everybody I know has had like an instant with a pellet grill like that.
Yeah. It's easy to cook something and not immediately clean it because you don't think about it.
Yeah.
Or you hadn't checked your grease trap and the thing's slapped full. And I mean, it's easy.
Crazy.
Or somebody cooked something on it you don't know. Yeah. You come back and.
So yeah, I went home and deep cleaned mine because I was not.
That was before you tried to come back.
Yeah. So if y'all have been paying attention to the weather at all in the last like week, pretty much all through the Midwest, there's been like storms every single day. There's tornadoes. And so we were supposed to leave on Wednesday, and my dad got an email in his thing from our tickets that said, inclement weather incoming. We haven't canceled your flight yet, but would like to offer you a flight credit just in case. So the first day, it's like it's the first day of being delayed. We were like, oh, okay, like let me go ahead and reschedule. Hopefully I can work from home that first day and stuff. It'll be okay. And y'all were super cool. And then we changed it. Well, then the next night we went to go look at it, and it had just been rescheduled. They didn't even send an email. Like I went in to check in, and I couldn't check in because it wasn't until Friday. And I was like, okay. So because there was just still more storms. And it wasn't even really Memphis. It was more like to the west. Like it was like the Texas area and stuff, but we were flying through Dallas, which was the main problem, was we had to drive straight through all that.
Yeah, that's where all the bad weather went.
Mm-hmm. And I kept looking at all these flights, and with traveling with 3 kids, like I was glad to not have to be delayed somewhere because that would have been awful. And so, and all of our flights were getting canceled or delayed or anything like that. I think Thursday we would have made it home, but one of the flights was delayed like 3 or 4 hours. Like we would have been in an airport for a while. So then on Friday morning, we wake up, my wife's like, we're leaving today. Like it's happening. And so I'm like, okay, the first flight was awesome. We flew through Ontario to Dallas, and the timing of it was perfect. Like there was no weather. But then once we got there, I knew that our flight was supposed to take up at 5:15. I looked at the weather radar, and the weather was supposed to start storming around 5:30, 5:45. So I was like, as long as we leave on time, we'll be fine. We get on the plane, we're boarded, everything's good to go. We sit there for like 15, 20 minutes, and I look at the clock, it's like 5:35. I'm starting to get a little nervous, We're at the back of the plane, which if y'all have never sat on the back of the plane before, the air conditioning barely works even when the plane's running. So it is hot. There's, 3 kids and stuff, all the whole situation. And then at about 5:35, the pilot comes over the intercom, and he's like, hey, guys, they're spreading out departures. We should be leaving in 3 or 4 minutes. We're like, okay, we're going up. It's fine. Another 10 minutes goes by. He comes back on. Hey, guys, we've canceled all flights going, I think it was northbound and eastbound. And me and Ashley were like, crap. That is the worst case scenario because they wouldn't let us off the plane. Like we had to sit on the plane for an hour and a half before the plane took off because they didn't know when we were going to be able to leave. They didn't want to have to reboard the plane, all that good stuff. So an hour and a half goes by. It's hot as heck. The kids start screaming. Like you guys said, it's a metal box and you're trying to entertain 3 kids. It's hot. Like it was really bad. So we finally get up. It was the worst turbulence I'd ever had on a plane. It was shaking the kids around. Like I was trying to get Ashley to give the kids Dramamine because I was like, it'll knock them out and then
them up.
Yeah. And then, it's shaking their bodies up and stuff. So then we get to that point and we were about to land and my middle child threw up all over his seat.
Oh. Worst case scenario.
My wife was like, are you serious? Like this could not get any worse.
What are the people around you? Are you even paying attention to what the people around you are doing?
Kind of, but I also told my wife going into this, I was like, we will never see these people again. And we were on the back of the plane. Like I always feel bad when we're sitting kind of close to first class because like they paid extra for those seats. We got
you expected in the back of the bus.
Yeah, but we're in the back of the bus.
We had to sit. We had some flights get juggled around. We were going to the College World Series one year, and they put us on the last plane going to Omaha, and we were at the very back. I'm talking the lady that sits jump seat was practically in my lap the whole flight. I said, we're going to get real acquainted on this one.
Yeah.
That was a tough flight being at the very back. I ain't going to lie.
It is not fun. Not a good time. So, yeah. I mean, all in all, like looking back on it, it wasn't that bad. It just in the moment seemed that bad,
When the projectile vomit comes out, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
Like we didn't.
If I'd have been sitting in front of that and had to smell it, ooh, would have been good.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was worried about because when I looked over at him, like he kept going, "Daddy, Dad." I'm like, "Oh, it's about to get." He's about, and I was telling Ashley, and she's like, no, it's his ears. No, it's not. Like I can tell by the look in his face.
He's getting.
So he turns around, and from my point of view, it looked like he was throwing up on the lady behind us because his face was between the seat.
Oh no!
And I was like, and I just kind of looked away, and I was like, this is one of those moments where I could just be like, dang, lady, your kids are throwing up all over that lady. That's crazy. But no, it was just on his seat. So we got him cleaned up. And I don't think we talked the whole way home. Like, I think we just enjoyed, all the kids fell asleep in the back seat and we just enjoyed like the
peace and quiet.
That was the first time that I've ever, happy. Like we were driving through Whitehaven and all kinds of stuff. And the smells of Memphis were amazing to us. At that moment, you know what I'm saying?
Home sweet home.
Home sweet home. Exactly.
So you're not ready to jump back on a plane with 3 kids anytime soon?
That's a negative. Oh.
We'll be driving to California. Next.
It's only 26 hours. Yeah. So with kids, probably 4 days at least. But
yeah, it used to be exciting to get to plane travel. Now it's like, oh, God.
Yep.
We got delayed like that last time we went to Atlanta, just a few weeks back. We had to rent a car and drive back.
We considered it a few times. Like, if we can make it to Dallas, it's only a
8 hours.
Drive,
I would have made it from Dallas back. Yeah, if they did. It never fails. If I fly through Dallas, we're getting delayed on the runway, and you're going to sit there and sit
Lately,
there
it's been Atlanta too.
Yeah.
If the kids had been a little older, we could have done it, but we didn't have 2 of their car seats, so we were going to have to figure that out. And I think there's some sort of rental system, but I don't know if it's like you have to return it to a certain type of person or whatever. So we just kept holding on.
Well, you're back.
Glad to be back.
Glad to be back.
Get the grind.
Before we wrap up today, I do have some questions for you.
All right.
So Ben emailed me, and he asked about cooking a pork butt. He said, would butterflying a pork butt and then seasoning it and rolling it back up to smoke it, would that be good? Is it bad? He was thinking he was looking to get more flavor into his pulled pork.
I'm not a fan of that. You can get all the flavor you want to it after you pull it. That's the best time to doctor it. I mean, I don't think you gain anything. I think cutting it like that
well, he was thinking
tends to dry it out more. I mean, it never fails. Like, I've cooked those boneless butts. Like, when you go to Costco, that's all he has, boneless ones. I don't like them near as much as I do a bone-in butt. It doesn't seem like it's juicier. The pork's different. It just isn't the same. So I'm not a fan of taking those large pieces. If I'm making pulled pork with it, I'm not going to cut it up like that at all.
Well, he was thinking he would either slice it or cube it for tacos, stuff like that. But you say,
if you're going to do that, just cut it into steaks and cook them that way and chop it up like al pastor style or something like that. But I wouldn't do it the whole one and then try to put it back together and tie it up and then cook it for shredding or chopping. I wouldn't do that.
So cook it whole.
Just cook it whole, yeah.
Pull it and then
doctor it however you want to right at the end. You can get all the flavor you want.
That's a good little trick that we always use.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I always pull it, taste it, and then you can use some of the juice that was in the wrap. If you wrapped it, you can, add a little sauce if you want to. Definitely add salt, pepper, garlic. I mean, AP works great on just some shred right after you do it because it makes everything pop. It wakes it up. You're not overly seasoning it.
And if it's hot and juicy, it dissolves.
Soaks it right up. It's so good.
When picking out St. Louis ribs, which is more important between the straightness of the bones and the marbling? Like if you've got one that's got perfectly straight bones, but you got another one a little crooked, but the marbling looks awesome. Which one do you go for?
I mean, marbling is going to give you more flavor because it's got more fat in it. But I don't look for ones that have a lot of the fat that's on top of the rib, like on the meat side, all on top of it. I don't want big, thick fat pockets. I don't want it all over it. I want it in the meat, marbled. So yeah, marbling probably leaning. I mean, bones is just aesthetic. So if you're worried about what it looks like, like for a competition, you want straight up on as possible just because they're going to lay in the box right and all that goes into it. But you got to win with flavor first, and I think the fat's more important. The marbling in the meat's more important than it is how the rib looks.
So marbling will always come number one.
Yeah.
And if you can get some straight bones, then great.
And if don't even worry about straight bones if you're not doing competition.
You worry about straight bones all the time.
Well, I mean, that's habit, but really, I don't want some good looking marbled up ribs.
So
it's hard to tell marbling in them in a package too. It's not easy. I mean,
especially with ribs, it's hard.
You can find some Cryovac single slabs. You can see it kind of good, but still, it's kind of tough. But that meat just because there's fat all over the top of that rack, don't mean it's marbled up. It just means it had a lot of extra thick fat on top. They didn't come off the belly.
And that's going to go away anyway, right?
It's not going to render. Or if it does, it's going to leave you big pockets in it. That's not what you want.
Can you pull brisket?
Yeah. Especially when I think of pull brisket, I think of the point. The flat's not the best for shredding. You can cook it to where it's falling apart and you have to shred it.
It's going to be dry.
It's going to be dry. Yeah, the texture's not going to be great. Flat's better for slicing. Point's better for pulling.
So if I
was going to do pulled beef, I would. If I couldn't get brisket point, like if you can't, like Restaurant Depot, for instance, you can go buy a case of points, or you may have a food service that you can order from where you can get points, and those are so much better for pulled beef. But
I think you can get them easier out like Texas.
Yeah. I mean, you don't see them a whole lot in our area. You can order them, but you don't see them a whole lot. But you want the fattier beef for pulling. And so a chuck roast is a great alternative if you want to make pulled beef for a crowd. It's a lot cheaper than doing briskets most of the time.
Did you try that chuck roast I cooked for my mom?
Oh, it was delicious. Yeah, I had a bite of it. It was awesome. It's good. I mean, another great cut to make pulled beef with is probably the best is the beef cheeks. Oh, it makes the best pulled beef. Oh, it's so good. It's just succulent and fatty, and it melts all over. The fat in those cheeks just wants to melt and coat every little protein strand.
And we've been able to find them pretty good at
Sam's
lately.
Yeah, our Sam's has had a lot of cheeks.
Yeah, that chuck roast, I seasoned it with AP, medium, a little bit of hot rub, smoked it on your pellet grill, on the Memphis pellet grill for 2 hours?
It was 2 hours in the smoke, and then you panned it up and wrapped it in a pan.
And I didn't have any beef broth, so I used a packet of, what was it?
It's like
pot roast mix.
Pot roast seasoning or whatever, yeah.
I used a little bit of that, a little beef concentrate, and a little water.
It was good. It was
and
really
a little
good.
Worcestershire sauce, and then covered it up and let it keep cooking till it was fork tender.
It was like 210 when I probed it. I was like, yep, this is done. Just hold it. And we stuck it in a little party stacker cooler, and it set for a couple hours, and you shredded it before we went to bed.
It was flavorful. It was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it was kind of like a last minute thing. I was like, well, my mom doesn't like burgers, so I was going to cook that for her. But Malcolm, that's all I have for you today.
Well, hope everybody has a great weekend. Get out and fire up those smokers. We're right in the heart of grilling season now, so it is time. Memorial Day is behind us. Yeah, here we are getting into June. I will be on Greg Rempe's show this Tuesday night, the Barbecue Central show. It's the first Tuesday of the month, so it's time for my segment on there. So y'all tune in there and check it out. And
there will be no podcast next week. We are going on family vacation.
Family vacation next week. So Tyler, what's going on in the community? Anything we need to know about? Any giveaways or anything?
We gotta get a giveaway going for sure. So
let's get one going.
Let's get one going.
We'll brew that up for next week since there's no podcast. We'll give y'all something to do in the community. But in the meantime, we got all these wonderful questions from our Let's Get to Cooking community over on Facebook.com/group/H2Q community. So make sure y'all join it up. Like I said, I've been sharing kind of trickling out pictures from my vacation over there, but y'all can share all the same stuff, recipes, comments, and other people's stuff, and then participate in these giveaways that we always talk about. So we'll see y'all over there.
Fantastic. I wanted to get to that broccoli salad. Somebody had asked, so we'll have to do that when we come back maybe. But maybe you can.
You want to do it real quick?
Can we do that before we go?
Sure.
Real quick, Chelle's broccoli. We get asked this, and I don't know if it's online or not. It probably is somewhere.
Just put it on the community.
But so her broccoli salad, if you've never had this, it's almost like it's kind of like a broccoli coleslaw, but you just chop up the broccoli. It's not shredded like slaw. But so we got bacon in it. We got a pack of bacon.
So it's kind of like you have the dry ingredients, and then you have a dressing that goes with it.
So let's talk about the dressing real fast.
First, you start with blue plate mayonnaise. That's a given. Let me pull up my recipe. Okay. First, you start with blue plate mayonnaise. I do a cup of mayonnaise, half a cup of white sugar, and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Mix that up. Put it in the fridge. It's better if you let it go overnight.
Let that sit in its own container.
Mm-hmm. And then, because if you mix this all together too soon, it doesn't have this. Yeah, it's soggy. And then it's fresh broccoli, and I try to cut it into bite-sized pieces. So
not big old crown. You take a crown, break it down into bite-sized pieces,
so that you're not eating big stems and stuff. But it's about 2 heads of fresh broccoli, and then a red onion. I either do a really small red onion or half a red onion.
Super fine dice.
And it's really kind of up to you. You can put as much as you want, but I do super fine dice. I'll do a mandolin a lot of times if you're not there to do the dicing for me. And then you got to have bacon. I like to put it in the oven.
1 pack of thin bacon, the cheap stuff.
1 pack of thin bacon, the cheap stuff, yeah.
Because it's getting chopped.
And you want it, the cheap stuff seems to get a little crispier, which you want in that broccoli salad. Yep. And then golden raisins. I do about 3/4 of a cup.
Of the kind of yellow looking raisins, not the dark raisins.
So what I'll do, especially if we're taking it to an event or even if we're eating it at home, I'll put all my dry ingredients together, have my dressing, and then right before you serve it, you toss it.
And it only needs about 30 minutes in the sauce to be right because it coats everything.
Even less than that, probably.
This is a really good dish. People will say they don't like broccoli. They'll eat this and they'll love it. And it's a recipe that it screams summertime. You got your good blue plate mayonnaise in there. You got the raisins. You got the bacon. I've seen people add cheese to it. We typically don't.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really simple, but it looks like it's a fancy little salad. And we call it Chelle's broccoli salad.
It's delicious.
Y'all try it. Well, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Chelle, where can they find us if they want to entertain or interact?
If you would like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to contact me, it's Miss Southern Chelle on Instagram and TikTok.
All right. Well, we will see y'all next time. Everybody have a great weekend. We gone.